Okay, hello, what is up guys? Today I'll be doing a video on F1 22, specifically from a league race I had on Monday actually, on WR, Tier 7. This is my first ever season league racing on F1 22, so it was a new experience. Anyways, I'm not gonna bore you too much with the details. Instead, here's a bit my first lap that I did, right at the beginning of the session. Now, the commentary people thought that we were just going out because we thought that there would be rain. That's not true. I just wanted to go out early so that I could get a feeling for how the car was handling throughout the track. Because handling is different from time trial to the actual race here in short qualifying. It's more akin to Grand Prix mode. Anyway, here we go into the massive braking zone. Times are being set, 35.9 and 35.1 for Mogier. In the end, by the time I come around to the end of the lap here, I wasn't using the road properly, like there's a fair few mistakes, but at the time that was good enough for, I think, P3. Yeah, P3. The lap time was good enough for a P3. Obviously, I wasn't too happy with this lap time. I fucked up a few areas, especially the third sector was shit. So I decided to go out again a bit later in the session when there was more traction as well, more rubber laid down on the track after people start going out. And now in the run down to T1 I decided to push a bit more with my braking. This time brake pretty much at the white line, not at the black box. Here, and then on the exit a bit more on the throttle, but I went too much on the throttle and I did a massive sbinalla, which if you're doing qualifying is not ideal. So I had to go rush back in and go out on my last set of tires. So now I'm actually gonna have a full lap where I give you a small rundown of how you're doing everything. So you go out wide when you start your lap, have more speed to T1 where you brake between the black box and the white line, but I was pushing out on the white line to get a bit more time. Then you have to be careful on the exit because you can easily spin, touch the inside curb there, then into the SS, pretty much try to use as much curb as you can. Here I downshift into 6th. Keep it as tight through here, then I downshift into 5th to give myself a bit more rotation, go out a bit into the red with your outside tire, and then use as much of these curves as possible. Now the traction is very difficult there, so you need to be careful. Again, keep it tight. And here I personally brake a bit before the 50 meters board, but you can also brake at the 50 meter if you're confident enough. I wasn't really, because I wasn't really confident from the previous lap where I spun. But that's fine. We're about a 10th down, but I make up a lot of time in this sector here, brake around 100 meters. Now you can actually cut that a lot more and get a lot, and be a lot faster than what I was here. Even then I still had a purple second sector somehow. Here's where I gain a lot of time. Shoot 5th early, then follow that little black line that you may have seen on the screen. That gives you a good base on where the apex is. And here try to overall stay as tight as you can without cutting. Here swing out, and where your brake is very subjective. I personally use feel, and then here brake at the white line, use as much of the inside curb, and then down into the finishing line, and a 34.3. And now at the time that was a P7, ended up being P9 on the actual grid. Managed to beat my teammate actually in qualifying, which was pretty good. I haven't been able to do that before. And now let's get into the race. So here for the strategy, a very typical strategy to do is go from hard to medium tires. I personally decided to pit on lap 16. Now for the actual race start, I actually had a pretty terrible start, as you're gonna see here. I just did not get into the optimal RPM range, and then I had a slight bit of an wheel spin. I even got jumped by my teammate, who was all mediums to be fair. So here I'm hanging around the outside, but here I feel like I'm getting hit by people, so I'm being careful. I've been dive bombed by HD Storm. Actually, that's probably what I was hearing, because it was reported later. And then right on, yeah, VSC here, because someone spun in the background and left debris. However, it didn't take long. By the time we were on the big straight, the VSC was already cleared and we could continue with the race. But here I was jumped by Flux, who was actually ghosted for me. So I was actually very confused for a bit what to do with him, because he's ghosted, which means his internet is pretty terrible. So I decided to actually treat him the way that they want you in the rules, which is basically be careful, try not to overtake the ghosted car by going through them. Now here I was actually trying to catch up to crankshaft, but this is what happened. Actually, I think him and Bart were fighting, and Bart spun. So here I was actually trying to catch up to Bart throughout this entire lap. I was actually doing alright. I was keeping up with him, actually, not catching up, but keeping up with him throughout the first part of the second sector. No, to the first and second sector. It was the third where it actually went wrong, as you're gonna see right now. Any second now. When does it transition? There we go. Here on the exit of this, I went into 5th for some reason. I don't know why. I should have been in 4th. Oh yeah, I mean, I wasn't very confident, but I was able to go in 4th in the previous lap and go pretty much flat out, so I'm not sure why I didn't that time. Here I had a suboptimal line. Bart had a better one than me, already out of the DRS, and here, just to add insult to injury, I had a massive lockup. So now Bart was like 1.7 seconds ahead of me. I didn't have DRS, and Flux, the ghosted man behind me, had DRS. Oh, not in this case, because it was activated. The DRS line is before the start finish line, and here he sends it. He probably is not aware that he's ghosted through me, so that's why he probably sent that. Which is fine, but I mean, what can you do? Now here, HD Storm, watch him. Watch that gap. Did you see how much that gap closed in the tar straight? It was insane. Here he sent one on the inside, and he actually got ahead here, but I guess he had really low wings because he was really fast in the straight, and Askido had absolutely no cornering, so I was able to stay alongside him. But into this corner, he's on the inside, I'm on the outside. There is no way I can hang it around the outside and stay ahead, so yeah, that was actually really close there. So yeah, he gets ahead of me. Now here on the straight, as I'm trying to overtake him, I'm like, okay, and then I had to get this massive lag, which is dumb. I go back so far, now I have to catch up to him again. Thankfully, I can catch up to him in the next straight, and I can now overtake him, right? Well, look at this, DRS, ERS, everything going well, so like, massive lag. I'm behind Flux now, with that insane lag. I was really confused at the time, I didn't know what it was. Turns out it was actually CPU. And here again, another massive lag. These problems that I was having were actually caused by my processor, because it was just being overloaded by other things. However, thankfully, by that time I did get to overtake HD. It was like right around here. Actually, look at this. So he's 5 times ahead of me, right? I'm DRS, deploying ERS throughout the entire straight. I'm not catching up. Like, the gap is staying the same. That's insane. Barely reducing, but here he makes up a massive mistake due to the low as fuck rear wings that he was running, and eventually on the final corner of lap 5 I was actually able to catch up to him and here get a better line and then overtake him, use DRS and DRS. Somehow I'm suddenly faster than him, which is a bit strange. This actually made me think that he was using some form of straight line speed hacks, because there was absolutely no way that when he was ahead, I wasn't able to catch up with him with DRS and ERS, but then when I was ahead of him, I could suddenly catch up. It didn't make any form of sense, at least to me. After this, now on lap 7, my idea was actually to catch up to Mogie, because I saw I was much faster than him actually, especially through the last sector. So my idea now was to try and catch up, and as you can tell, after about 2 laps, I have suddenly caught up like over a second, like a second and a half. Pretty much in 2 laps, which is pretty good. I had much better pace. Then here, lap 9, onto this straight. I was only 1.5 seconds. I was hoping I could be able to do something finally. Unfortunately, it did take a few more laps. I kind of hung around this gap for a bit, which was dumb. I guess dirty air, or maybe I just wasn't driving well. Maybe he started driving well. I don't know. Here on lap 10 though. I'm 1.3, 1.2, I was catching up this lap overall, and I was hoping I'd be able to do something. Here I had a better line, I was catching up, but then Mogie spins. I felt pretty bad for him, because he was doing really well to actually keep pace ahead of me. However, I now overtook him, and then Captain Crankshaft, who was actually on the mediums on the start, which is not the ideal strategy, started doing his stuff, and now he was out of the pits, and I was on P8. At this point, 1 lap later, I did that, which was dumb, and I had a 3-second time penalty, which wasn't ideal. Now, AD Gamer behind me also had a lot of penalties. He actually had 6 penalties by the time I went into the pits, which was 4 laps later. Now, I decided I was going on the mediums, obviously. Now, the hards were really falling off at this point, to be honest, so it was a bit annoying. Anyways, we go into the pits. I got an optimal turn in, which is nice. And then but Asketo, that Aston Martin, the Aston Martin Asketo, ye as pit crew, releasing a bit too early. I mean no, I don't know. A bit ye ass, but here going out on track, I was behind Lucas Sebi, who had 8 seconds of time penalties. 3 for corner cutting, just like me, and then another 5 for, I guess, speeding in the pit lane. That's the only way you can have 8 seconds of time penalties on this game. And so I decided to actually try and pass him as soon as I can, because I actually didn't know that he was on worn tires. I just wanted to pass him, and when I was catching him up really quickly, I think in like 2 laps, I had already caught up 3 seconds. So it was pretty obvious that it got pretty obvious to me that Luca was on worn tires, and in the meantime he also got another 3 seconds of time penalties from corner cutting, which is not ideal, especially in this scenario. Anyways, here he is, he makes a mistake, has a little slide, and he pretty much actually lets me go, which is smart. He was actually waiting for a safety car, which actually didn't end up coming a bit later, as you'll see in a second. I was 17 seconds behind Crankshaft and the others. Still 17 behind Crankshaft, as you can tell, 3 laps later. And then safety car, so it was actually pretty smart from Luca to stay out. But maybe he should have been on the cards and he would have had better performance. Anyways, here going on the pit straight, you can see everyone has pit for softs. Meanwhile, my idiotic Ferrari strategy ass decided to stay on the mediums because I was hoping I could hold them off. Now I wasn't sure if I could, I just like, no fuck it, let's try doing that. And so here we are on the race restart, lap 25 going to 26. I actually get a pretty decent launch for having worn mediums. They weren't too worn, they were like on 7-8 laps, but these guys had pretty much brand new softs, so it was like a completely different universe. However, as you can tell, I was actually able to keep up with these guys, interestingly enough. I was pushing these mediums, to be fair, a lot. Not too much because I was just a tiny bit cautious. This is like another race start pretty much. So I was being a bit cautious. However, as you can tell, I was keeping up with the 2 Red Bulls in front of me. And I was also able to keep a crankshaft on the softs behind me in check, I guess you can say. So I wasn't too worried. And now as you can see, Bart actually spun. Yes, this is the second time it's actually happened to him. This was the second race here in Kota. Last week we had at Brazil. I actually had a horrendous race there, so that's why I did not actually try to upload it, and also, yeah. But yeah, he had an absolutely horrendous race last time. Here he spins with 2 laps remaining. I just felt really bad for him. However, these things just kinda happen. Anyways, I was defending from crankshaft on the straight because I knew he was gonna be faster than me in the corners with the softs. Here he leaves, he was clear, he absolutely tilted away because, well, who wouldn't tilt in that situation? Anyways, here I'm still like, okay, I think I can actually get a decent result. Like, I'm able to keep behind the soft runner behind me. I'm able to keep up with these soft runners decently. I mean, I was kind of falling off at this point. My tires were getting worn out, but here the Diogo's in the Red Bull actually makes a small mistake. And I was like, hell yes, he has 6 seconds of time penalties. At this point here, I was thinking, in any scenario, he's finishing behind me, so this could be a decent race result. I really was thinking that at this point. However, as you're gonna see here, I make a small mistake and I get another 3-second time penalty because I had made 2 warnings before that in 1 lap actually. And here I get another warning like an absolute baboon. At this point I was like, fuck Christian, what the fuck are you doing, Christian? Here I make another mistake running wide. Thankfully I did not get a warning for that one, but it didn't really matter. Anyways, here I was trying my absolute best, but it was just obvious that I'm not gonna be able to keep crankshaft behind me anymore. So I just decided to kind of wave him by. I even stopped deploying the ERS. I was like wiggled to signal that they can pass me because I'm not gonna be able to keep them behind. No fucking chance, dude. And here Yavi or Lavi, I don't know, sends it on me. I let him pass, obviously. However, I wanted to keep this position of P8 at least, because it was actually a really good position, all things considered. But I get absolutely sent on by Om Lesnar, who actually pushes me onto the sausage curb. Now, I wasn't particularly happy with that, but at the time. But to be fair, I was like, okay, I mean, fair enough, it's fair racing. Here, I get another massive lag. which scared me. I actually managed to hit Ribeiro. I also had pretty bad internet connection, to be fair, but still. Like, if you're watching this video, sorry. However, I just got a gigantic amount of lag again, which I wasn't happy with at all. Then I see Luca is behind me again, Luca Sebi. He started way ahead of me, and he was like right behind me. I was like, nice, I can at least get a decent race result with this, right? Well, you're gonna see in a second. I was really optimistic around this point of the lap. I was hoping I'd be able to get a decent result with this. Well, it didn't really work out like that, let's just say. Because here I was actually pushing these mediums, so the absolute brink. I was going faster than Luca Sevi on the softs with these fucking medium tires. I was angry at this point. Here, again, another gigantic lag. Like, this is insane at this point. I was like, what the fuck is going on, mate? Why am I getting these lags? What's happening? As I said, I realized afterwards it's actually my CPU, so I'm running at a low resolution now to accommodate for this. But still, I got this gigantic lag. Here I see these two guys again, though, fighting ahead of me. I was like, okay, this is my chance. Let's catch up to them. Let's try to beat them. Here Ribeiro actually defends really well the inside, so good job, props. I was never gonna be able to pass him. Here I tried going for the switchback, but I get a bit of wheel spin, so there was absolutely no fucking chance that was happening. And at this point I'm like, fuck me, so many lags and I'm gonna fall out of the fucking points. But here's my saving grace. These two crash into each other in the end. So I'm like, okay, let's see, let's hope I can keep at even a P10 on the finish. Unfortunately I couldn't, because there were people behind us without penalties. So in the end I finished P12. Now, I was mad, let's just say. I hit my table and my wheel after this. I was like, fuck's sake. Which was unfortunate. However, these things kinda happen, unfortunately. And yeah, my teammate finished P3, so props, Jay. Really good performance overall. Not so happy with what happened, but these things just happen. Yeah, hopefully for the next league races, actually I have tomorrow one in PSGO. Hopefully for the next league races that I do, I won't be having these, like, let's say issues with stuff. And yeah, unfortunate, but that's just how it is. These like technical issue stuff really discourages you when you're doing this kind of things, where you just need to accept them and move forward. So yeah, that was it, guys, for a pretty decent but in the end awful race. I hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. So bye.